everyone to another exciting episode of APAC Media's People Orbit. I welcome Miss Priyanka this side. Hi Priyanka, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
All good, all good, all good. Thank you so much, Priyanka, for joining us. It's a pleasure for us, to be speaking with you. So, Priyanka Vajnari, the head HR of PNG Jewelers, it's a privilege for us to be speaking with you.
It's an absolute privilege to be there on the podcast.
Thank you so much, Priyanka. So today's topic that we're going to discuss is, it's basis on the traditional business, corporate HR in the traditional businesses, balancing legacy and modern workforce strategies. Now, just to give a small backdrop of what exactly we're going to speak of, in today's traditional businesses, they're built on decades of legacy. But the fact is that, they are facing new ways, challenging these days of adapting HR strategies in order to meet the demands of a modern tech savvy workforce. Now, as we speak, the surveys also say that with over 80% of organizations today, they're investing in digital transformation. HR leaders in legacy-driven industries, they must navigate their fine line between preserving core values and embracing agility, automation, and employee-centric policies. But from integrating AI in talent acquisition to fostering hybrid workforce models, the evolution of HR in traditional setups, it is not just an option to say, it is necessary for sustaining growth and competitiveness. I hope you would agree with me, Priyanka. My
Absolutely.
first question to you: how can traditional businesses preserve their core values while adapting to modern day HR strategies?
Sugandh, as you rightly mentioned, it's time that we will have to cross over that line. And in traditionally, first of all, you'll have to define what your core values are. Um, Generally, what happens is there are practices that happens in traditional businesses, and with this new generation coming in, it is important that we explicitly say that okay, these are the values that we have, and then maybe we should brainstorm it with the team that is there around and look at whether they're really relevant anymore, and maybe then redefine the whole core values and then align HR strategies to it,
Okay.
because it's important that uh, we don't give up what we have, but we keep adding to what generational wealth we have. So I think that's what we should do.
While talking about, traditional businesses at length, the HR policies, so to say, in previous organization, if we talk of traditional businesses, Priyanka, you would believe that there wasn't a concept of putting policies in place for employees. I
Absolutely.
wouldn't say they were structured, they were not structured, but they were structured into the sense that, basic demands are being met, of holidays and of leaves. With the coming age and with the coming in of AI, now there is a whole gamut of policies which are being put, and HR in itself is a new framework, even for traditional businesses. How easy or how difficult do you feel it is for traditional businesses to adapt to these new age technologies?
See, first of all, you will have to realize that this is a big change for traditional businesses. So,
Right.
that how do you navigate through that change will define how easy or difficult it is going to be. You know,
Okay.
uh, Typically in an organization, when hierarchies are set up or hierarchies are maintained, there is no clear vision setup, no clear directional setup that is there. So when you're
Okay.
bringing in new HR policies or processes, you first will there has to be a leadership will that is available, and then
Okay.
align the whole new HR policies and processes in place. So, and as you rightly said, it has to move beyond compliances. It has to move towards employee well-being, employee happiness. I think that's what traditional businesses will have to look at when they want to set up HR.
Okay, and if we talk of challenges, what are some of those challenges in transitioning, from hierarchical decision making to a more agile and employee centric approach? Because you would agree with me, in traditional businesses, primarily, there aren't much of segments or hierarchies which are involved, source to source to say, in comparison to present day organization. So if you talk of those challenging in the transition process, what could be those primary challenges that traditional businesses do face or might face in the transition phase?
Uh, it's a very interesting question. Well, there may not be hierarchies that are very strong, but there are definitely strong power centers.
Okay.
So, because decisions are made by a few in traditional business houses,
Hmm.
so first of all, the leadership will have to agree that okay, this is the new way of functioning, and as we transition to this, we will have to get more teams to have a collaborative approach, which is not there today. In
Okay.
traditional businesses, what happens is it is a top down approach. So
Right.
whatever is decided, and everybody just falls in line or fall apart. But with this, you'll have to get a more collaborative approach. Also,
Hmm.
people will have to move away from this mindset of survival to flourishing. In a traditional setup, what happens is people say, okay, this is being told, this is how it needs to be done, no questions asked. So
Hmm.
it's more of a survival mode. As we become more employee centric, decisions are far more taken at all levels. People are highly empowered, and that is the only way. That those are the kind of challenges HR will have to face and address when they're transiting through this phase.
Do you feel any specific number or any specific subject which is different in terms of challenges in traditional businesses? Let's say yours, that's into retail and jewelry business.
Oh, see, different in the sense, in jewelry and
Yeah,
retail, if you talk about, it's a different industry. Very few people, in fact, look at it as an organized setup.
exactly.
Uh,
Right.
it is seen as they don't see it as a retail. They still think it's a shop.
Hmm.
And like in PNG, we have like 2,000 employees. People still wonder why would they need HR practices, but it is organized like any other setup. And in retail, from any other industry, customers are directly interacting with employees. So the
Right.
exposure to customer needs is far more. And if we do not address that on an immediate basis, we are definitely heading towards a fall down.
Okay.
Thus, we empower employees to take those decisions on the spot, train them on how to, address all those queries. So, yeah.
Do you feel that traditional businesses also face a challenge of attracting young talent because it is a preconceived notion that in traditional businesses there is only a top-down approach wherein there are not many hierarchies and the chances of growth are less since there isn't, as you rightly said, people have this preconceived notion that there isn't a specific structure into retail businesses. So do you feel that traditional businesses they face issue in attracting young talent wherein instead of going on to a traditional business setup they would rather prefer startups or tech driven environments?
That's partially correct. People would think that why would I join a traditional business and cut down on my opportunities to further explore things. But this mindset is changing slowly. As people are seeing that there's a scope of me adding value or
Hmm.
making the change possible.
Hmm.
I think that is where people are joining the organizations which are still traditional.
Okay.
This is all subject to how do you portray yourself also. The employer branding plays a very vital role at this point in time, because you'll have to project, you'll also have to talk about the organization. Traditional businesses generally fail to do that. They think if you keep working, things will be achieved. But this generation would want to be seen, would want to hear more about the organization, would want to see the transparency that organizations have. So I think the more we do that, it helps in attracting and retaining talent that we attract at organizations.
Do you offer any kind of new age policies to attract young talent, or you are still sticking to the traditional way of hiring via, screening resumes or shelling out posts to hire people?
No, we have moved away from that
Okay.
to a great extent, because we've realized that people want everything at the click of a button. They don't want to send hard copies and then talk about it and things like that. So we have
Mhm.
taken help of technology. See, once upon a time, HRMS was a luxury to have. Uh,
Right.
these days it's no more a luxury; it's a need
Mhm.
to do your basic stuff in place. And with ATS system coming in, which is AI backed, I think things have become far more easier, and we have adapted those technologies in our traditional business too,
Okay.
because it's no more a choice. You'll have to embrace technology, otherwise you are no more relevant.
How open do you think are traditional businesses to approach to a segment wherein they have to adapt to present day technologies? Because I've been speaking to other traditional businesses setups as well, and they feel that, since the name and the legacy has been going on for our decades, so we do not need to change much because we are an established brand, and so is PNG. So if we talk of PNG, how open do you think is this traditional brand of welcoming the new age AI technologies?
See, if I talk about in general, first of all, I think there is a little resistance, but it's a fear of unknown. People don't know how to set it up, or there is also fear of it may cost a bomb. Uh, that that perspective, till the time you don't explore, you will not get to know.
Hmm.
Uh, as far as PNG is concerned, I think we are a very young organization. My average age is 32. And with that, we had to adopt technologies, and there is a lot of management, contribution to that. Otherwise, what happens is it only remains on paper. Also, we've done a lot of effort in terms of training people, uh, giving them a feel of how technology in small bit size things we've done. Like, we initially started with something called as basic as uh, doing a training online,
Okay.
and then doing assessments online. Then we moved to performance management, then we went to data management, and today I think it's just become so easy for everybody. uh,
And how accessible were your people getting into this training module where they need to adapt to the new age coming technologies?
Come again, I missed it.
So my question is, how open have been your employees in getting into a framework of learning the new age technologies? Like I mean, recently said that you've been investing into the learning modules as well. So how open were your employees to get themselves into the new age learning format?
See, we have three generations working with us.
Exactly.
You
That's
know,
why the question. Yeah.
so youngsters definitely were very keen and very enthused by the whole concept of we'll have everything on our mobile.
Right.
Uh, with older generation, they have kind of adapted to it now, but initially we had to do a lot of training for them and reverse
Mm-hmm.
mentoring, because
Okay.
these young generation guys used to help them with technology how will basic things like how do you log in, how do you remember your passwords, and then actually operating the system. But in return we had told all these older guys that okay, you'll share your experiences with customers with them. What have been your biggest troublemaking customers, or what has been your happiest moment here. So I think they've just blended it well. And
Mm-hmm.
yes, there are challenges. I won't say that we are there yet. We are still learning and we are still doing things. Uh, but I can definitely say that my today 90% processes are online.
Okay.
So and they're doing well.
Any anecdote that you could share with us on, how has been your experience since you are leading the HR segment of a traditional business while you are not from that traditional set of working? Of course, you must be very up and very, engaging in terms of taking in new tech. So, how has been your experience, bridging this gap of technology with a traditional business setup?
It has been very interesting, in fact, because when we first started with HRMS, implementation,
Mhm.
first resistance that came from was HR, because they were like, no, our people will not be able to do that. Or retail typically, even the candidates are not very tech savvy. So how will we attract talent? How will we get them to do applications online and things like that? So from there,
Do you feel, Priyanka, that people in the traditional businesses they are skeptical of learning new age technologies because that ways their acumen is not, being built that ways. So, do you feel that there is this gap of not learning the new age tech is because they'll have to all in all prove their acumen from scratch? From a traditional business setup, sometimes I mean suddenly if you're just getting me into the HRMS and logging in logging out, probably me as a traditional person would always feel that I'll be always compared to these Gen Z's because everything is at their tips these days. But for me, I have to toil all over it, and then my performance will be reviewed from scratch, and all the hard work that I've done all these years will go in if I'm not adapting to the new age technology. Do you think it is also a pressure on them?
uh, Sugan, it can happen only if you are judging people by their technological acumen.
Okay.
First 2 3 years, I suggest not to go by that, because then what will happen is only resistance will increase and the focus from the business will move towards how do I prove that I'm tech savvy.
Tech
Yeah,
savvy
it,
and
it
in
is
sync with today's line.
correct. You will have to keep business as a priority, and then these are all support systems to help you become better and current.
Hmm.
If HR makes that as the first priority, then naturally what you say will happen.
Okay. Any last words that you would like to say in form of ending this conversation, wherein could be one of those key takeaways for traditional businesses, a tagline for them on how to evolve into this new age tech?
I think the best thing is believe that people love technology, and they are on Insta and Facebook, and it's not that they're illiterates. Trust that they will do fine. Give them time, and I think we will all evolve.
Thank you so much, Priyanka. It was a pleasure speaking with you and on such an interesting topic because actually, not many traditional business owners or HRs tend to come in front and speak about their nitty-gritties and their challenges or how they're overcoming it. Because, as I clearly stated, when you read surveys, when you read reports, traditional businesses uh, face massive challenge in transitioning because they have to prove their acumen from scratch. Hiring from the Gen Z world is still easier, and in order to make them aware of what kind of technologies is your company adapting, so it's easier for them to grasp because everything is at their tips. But for traditional HRs or for traditional people who've been leading companies for so long, to get into a system wherein everything is on just clicks and not on papers anymore, it is a humongous task. I would agree. But thank you so much, Priyanka. It was pleasure speaking with you and hearing the stories and how you have evolved a traditional business into or bridge that gap with technology today. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Thank you so much, Sagat. It was an absolute pleasure talking to you, and thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you so much. For people who hearing this segment, you're free to ask questions to Priyanka. We'll be posting this interview upon our LinkedIn. So in the comment section, you feel free to pose your questions, and Priyanka will be happy to respond to all your queries.
Absolutely. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much, Priyanka. Nice speaking with you.
Pleasure. Thank you.